Yeah, this is a brief video. I know that one of the steps that I had talked to you guys about taking care of in your completion of your project would be once we negotiated our debt and equity deal and you calculated your weighted average cost of capital, that you would want to go back and basically recalculate the important metrics, the value of equity and the value of your idea, the NPV of your idea, that you recalculate those metrics and the scenarios so that you could redo your presentation to your investment group with the correct information. And in the process of doing that, I realized that I needed to give you a little bit of an example on how to do that. So in my example, let's just assume that we negotiate a cost of debt of 7.5%. That we solved based on the deal that we got on equity. It's at 14.5%, and our weighted average cost of capital therefore was 8.1%. We now need to think about how to incorporate that back into it. Your initial thought process might be, oh, I will just go put it into the financials, but remember that all of those sorts of inputs have now been replaced with formulas. So, for example, the interest rates and all that sort of stuff, all that's been replaced with formulas now that refer back to the sensitivity sheet. So we need to replace it there. All right. And so what we're going to do is we are going to go in and insert into this, going down, let's see, days open, direct cost, depreciation, interest expense, it's at 8%. We need it to be 7.5%, so we're going to enter that there. And I'll go ahead and expand that so you can see it. We'll put a little green around it so we know we got it. Tax rate's the same. The cost of equity we have at 14.5%. Again, I'm going to expand that so you can see it and put a little color around it. And our weighted average cost of capital based on the weightings that we came up with was 8.1%. So we'll expand that and highlight it. And you can see that when we put that in there, it has already changed these values. I don't know if you know what they were before. They're kind of hard-coded over here. The base was equity of 1.367. It now went up to 1.433. Net present value was 2.432, and now it's 3.325. So that affected things quite well. And what that basically means for us is we need to go ahead and rerun our scenario analysis. And so lucky for us, because of the way that Excel handles scenarios, we can just go in and do data, what if analysis, scenario manager, and I'm going to get rid of this XYZ that I used as an example, likely, best, worst. Those are already defined and they're already reading the cells that they need to read. And so we are going to just hit summary. Report type, the result cells, D and E3, which are those up there, so that's correct. And so we're going to hit OK. And you're going to see that what it's basically done is produce another set of values for us. Now, I'm not clear what it did. If it overwrote my stuff, I'm going to be mad. Doesn't look like it did. Oh yeah, it's this scenario summary too. So I now have these different values, and those different values, of course, if I wanted to, I could just take and move over into the scenario charts that I already have and update those. So again, because the only thing we're really changing are the costs of capital, all of the descriptions are the same. I just need to get my likely, best, and worst data moved. So I'll go over the charts and I'll kind of put it here so we can just drag it. This was my likelies. for equity. So I'll go there to there. Do the same thing for NPV over here. My bests. Don't think we did that right. Let's see. Not sure I grabbed that right. Yeah, for some reason, not sure what it did, but we'll copy it back over there again. Not sure how I screwed that up, but anyway. So my best case equity was 3.67. Best case NPV was 8.383. Worst case was 547. Equity. Oh, that's what I keep doing for some reason. Control C. Worst case NPV is that. All right. So you can see that by doing that, we've changed the shape of things a little bit, and that will be the information that you will want to incorporate into your presentation for the final discussion with your investors. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'm going to make it number 13, Financial Re Calc. Call it the Recalc. Save. And you might want to, completely up to you, but you may also want to go in and recalculate your IRR. So again, your cost of equity should have already been updated. You can just expand it and make sure. Yep. Your cost of capital should already have been updated. And so you can see here your value of equity has already been calculated. Your payback period has changed a little bit now because you can see that you've already gone kind of as far as paying stuff off. Let's see, not sure what that is. So that's what you started out with. You got it paid off here. So it's 2.083, changed it a little bit. Not going to change it. I guess it's really not going to change the payback because none of those values are discounted. Your NPV did change, and that's going to change automatically. The one that's not going to change automatically is your IRR, calculating your IRR, and that's just not going to that's not going to change automatically because we have to do the what if on that. So again, we could go back to the data, what if analysis, do goal seek, and I'm going to set cell C26 to 0 by changing the IRR. Okay, probably not going to change it a whole lot, but let's see, present value is that. Terminal value, some of those. So didn't change it a whole lot is what it amounts to. Simply because remember that the IRR, aside from the fact that this has affected your terminal value just a little bit, the IRR is saying what would the return be, and then you compare that to your cost of capital in order to figure out if that's a good deal or not. So generally speaking, it's not going to change a lot, but because we have to calculate terminal value, it'll change a little bit. Anyway, so the bottom line is now you have updated values that you can use if you want to talk about the capital budgeting metrics in the final presentation. I hope that's useful for you. I will post this workbook so you can just use it for example if you want. Again, it's just to compare it to what the one before it was, I guess. But that's the process. Thanks.